Good evening, everybody, and welcome to today's session of Roznama. Today is the 20th of April 2026, and today, again, in the newspapers, we will only find continuation of the delimitation, the entire defeat of the bill in the parliament, the after effects of it on the majority party in the parliament, and also certain updates on the Iran-Israel war. All right. So without wasting any time, we'll quickly begin. So the first one is on the second round of talks that is to take place today. And in this second round of talks, again, like the previous one, this time also, US would be represented by the Vice President of the United States of America, that is J.D. Vance, right? And this also is being brokered by Pakistan, and they are set to meet. Now, however, talks are on the table, but the US president has yet again threatened to attack Iranian infrastructure if Iran does not undertake peace agreements, if Iran does not undertake effective negotiations, and if Iran also does not permit free movement of the ships in the Strait of Hormuz. All right. Now, we did see that Iran did issue a statement saying that Iran is going to permit passage of all ships, at least during the ceasefire period, that is this entire 2-week period that they've agreed to for ceasefire. So Iran had agreed that Iran is going to permit passage of ships for these 2 weeks. However, US undertook blockading of the Strait of Hormuz. US sent its naval ships in the Strait of Hormuz to facilitate easy shipping and movement of other oil-containing, LNG-containing ships, which was retaliated against by which was retaliated against by which was retaliated against by the Iranian government, and therefore again tensions have somehow mounted up. All right. Then, because of the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, crude oil imports have basically fell to nearly 17% in March. All right. So our entire imports have been falling, and now they've fallen up to 17% in March, all right, which is actually a major cause of concern because India is still dependent on fossil fuels as of now for its energy requirements. We are trying to transition from a non-renewable energy based country to a renewable energy based country. All right. So to do this effectively, India still is dependent on fossil fuels, and we have to effectively transition to renewable sources of energy. All right. So our crude oil imports have declined to nearly 17% in March. So this is another article which is which gives you a little more detail, and it is in the economic section. You can read through it. LPG cylinder sales to domestic households have fallen by 8.1% in March, because I don't know if you all did, but a lot of people, they actually started buying inductions for cooking food at home, and this was undertaken or done specifically because naturally we were facing shortage of LPG or domestic fuels. All right. Okay. Then the next piece of news, I have just taken this up because I wanted to highlight the 3-language formula for you all. All right. So now the CBSE boards have implemented the 3-language formula, and as per this new 3-language formula, we have certain schools in Delhi who have said that they've issued notices to parents saying that children in classes 6 now and from class 6 onwards, the 3-language formula would be implemented, where the children would be taught English, Hindi and Sanskrit. Till now, they were teaching foreign languages like French, German, etc., which have been removed. So foreign languages have been removed, and this has been given way to Indian languages. Sanskrit has been pitched in, and Hindi and English though were being taught previously also. Now, the reason that they've cited is that this is going to develop the child's multilingual capabilities. The same thing was highlighted in the 3-language formula. Now, what is the 3-language formula? The 3-language formula was first proposed in 1968, And in 1968, it was proposed by the Kothari Commission. All right. As per this three-language formula, he had proposed different formulas for North states and for South states. All right. So for North Indian states, they said that they are going to teach English, they are going to teach Hindi, and any other regional language. All right. It could be a South Indian language, it could be Sanskrit. All right. For southern states, they had compulsory SLED that they had to teach English, they had to teach their respective regional language, and they had to teach English, Hindi. Hindi was made compulsory on southern Indian states. All right. So this was naturally that they were imposing Hindi on non-Hindi speaking states. Then we had another education policy, which was in 1986. This particular education policy made no reference to the three-language formula. Then the three-language formula was for the third time iterated in the 2020 new education policy. And in this 2020 new education policy, they made the entire formula very flexible, meaning that there was no adamant emphasis on teaching of Hindi. They made the formula very flexible in the sense that they said that it was up to the states to choose whichever language that they want to teach in their respective schools, but they had to teach three languages. So the three language could be English, Hindi, any their respective regional language. Other than Hindi, they could teach any other regional language. They could teach foreign languages like French, Spanish, German, etc. No compulsion as to teaching specific languages only. All right. So there was no emphasis on specifically teaching these three languages only, but yet the northern Indian states have taken this decision. Specifically in Delhi, we can see here that Sanskrit is going to be taught from class 6 and other Indian regional languages rather than foreign languages. Okay, so do keep all of this in mind. NEP 2020 was given on the recommendation of the Kasturi Rangan committee. All right. Okay. Then next is sending team to park for talks, take deal or face attacks. This is just a continuation of the Iran-US peace agreement talks. So again, Donald Trump has issued a threat that either Iran should send people off to Pakistan to undertake peace negotiations, or US is going to break the ceasefire and again undertake attacks on Iran. All right. So Iran rejects new peace talks, cites US blockade of ports among reasons. So Iran has rejected all of the peace talks, and Iran has suggested that the US, which has sent naval ships blockading the Strait of Hormuz, is one of the reasons that Iran is not able to trust US, and Iran is not going to participate in the negotiations. All right. Then this particular news here, see, just draws our attention to the fact that the Indian armed forces, which actually require LNG, petroleum, etc., for their defense and for other domestic purposes in the armed forces, they are now trying to transition to use solar energy, wind energy, and other non-fossil fuel based energy sources to reduce their dependence on fossil fuels. Okay. Okay. Then we are now having a summit level meeting, a bilateral meet between India and Sri Lanka. So we have the Sri Lankan president Anura Kumar Dissanayake coming to India and visiting the as of now, he is visiting the Vice President of India, C.P. Radhakrishnan. And one significant thing that they've decided here is that the Overseas Citizens of India card, which was extended to Sri Lankan citizens, mostly people who migrated from India, gone and settled in Sri Lanka, the Tamil Nadu people mostly. This OCI card was extended only till the 4th generation of people. Now it has been extended to the 6th generation as well. So this is one thing that you have to keep in mind. Then quickly coming to the editorials. The first one is on the entire country's or India's dependence on fossil fuels. All right. So this article tells us that because India is too much dependent on fossil fuels for its energy requirements, so fossil fuels for energy, this energy undertakes everything, undertakes manufacturing, that is processing in industries, also undertakes agricultural activities, all right? So all of this is suffering, production of goods is also suffering, and production of raw materials is also suffering. Because this production is suffering, this production is further amplified by shortage of fertilizers as well, all right? Now, because there is this major loss faced in both of these industries, this has culminated in inflation, all right? There is shortage of goods, demand is more, supply is less, that is naturally going to entail rise in prices, which is triggering inflation in the country. And all of this has happened because India is still very much dependent on fossil fuels for their basic sources of energy. Now they are talking for, effectively, India has to undertake concerted steps to transition from a fossil fuel based economy to a non-fossil fuel based economy. So this is what the article talks about. You can go through it. Then again, a good article on delimitation. So do go through delimitation. It takes you through history. It takes you through the entire current affairs, that what were the proposals for delimitation with respect to the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, increase in the number of seats in the Lok Sabha from 550 to 850, talks about the census, talks about the various amendments to the constitution, talks about the provisions in the constitution to undertake delimitation, article 82, 170, talks about the previous freezing of delimitation exercise through the 42nd Constitution Amendment Act 1976 and through the 84th Constitution Amendment Act in 2002. And then now, what is the way forward with respect to undertaking delimitation, all right? So do go through this. Then again, an editorial, the same details in a much balanced manner on delimitation and the parliament seats. Again, on delimitation, this article, however, draws our attention to one particular thing. One of the reasons that has been cited, and also there was this one interview by Priyanka Vadra, the sister of Rahul Gandhi, opposition leader. She is also said this, and the same thing has been reiterated here also, that the government has basically said that they want to increase the number of seats from 550 to 850 to enforce the 33% seats which are to be reserved for women in the parliament. Now, naturally, the contentious point here is that why do you want to increase the seats of the Lok Sabha to increase the total reservation, to implement the 33% reservation of women? I mean, 33% reservation can be implemented in 550 seats as well. Plus, the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam has nowhere said that you have to have, increase in the total number of seats in the Lok Sabha. Only then can you undertake implementation of the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. So one of the theories that they've suggested is that maybe the government wants to increase the total seats from 550 to 850 only because the men of the Lok Sabha, they don't want to lose onto their seats. Because if out of 550 seats, 33% seats are going to be reserved for women, then some seats for men have to be, effectively emptied. So if you have 850 seats, 33% new seats, alignments could be made, plus the already instilled male MPs are not going to lose at their seats, all right? So do go through this one. Then this one is on, again, the delimitation. And what is the basic stance of the opposition members, and how the BJP government has actually come out and use very derogatory terms for the opposition, that the opposition are anti girl child, they are undertaking female feticide, etc., by not passing this bill. But then they are not outlining or highlighting the total attention of the people on the fact that this delimitation exercise is a facade in the name of undertaking implementation of Nari Shakti Adhiniyam. I mean, without even expanding the total seats of the Lok Sabha, you can still give reservation to 33% women in the total of 550 seats. All right. So that is what the article is about, that how the opposition is actually crying wolf. The majority party is actually crying wolf because the act was not passed. All right. And this beautiful article by Shashi Tharoor, he gives you very good insights. So I always bring it up for the editorial analysis because you need to read his articles. Okay. So this article is also, he's a member of the opposition. but he's very open-minded and very welcoming of a lot of majority parties initiatives, all right? So for this also, he has used very good terms, like, you know, instead of the government presented a buy one, get one free offer that no self-respecting federalist could accept. So buy one, get one free was that you, in order to implement the Nari Shakti Adhiniyam, you had to pass this increase in the number of seats for the Lok Sabha bill. That was buy one, get one free. And then he also said the idea was just like the disastrous demonetization, pass in haste, repent in leisure, meaning that as of now, quickly they do get it passed, and then eventually everybody would cry over it that the number of MPs have been increased to so much, and too much burden on the exchequer, then outlining of territorial constituencies, etc. He's actually talked about the pros and cons of the delimitation exercise, and he's also said that much thought should be put into the entire process of delimitation, and only then it should be undertaken. It should not be done in haste. Okay. And then also he's drawn attention to the simple fact that the North Indian states did not object to the delimitation exercise. The major objection came from the southern states. Why? Because the basis of undertaking delimitation in the country is mostly population, is only population. And through concerted efforts of population control, the southern states have actually controlled their population as compared to the northern states in India. So the northern states would see a rise in their seats and the southern states would lose onto their seats. He's basically said that the southern states have undertaken a good work, they've undertaken a good feat, yet they are going to be penalized for the same. Okay, it's a good article, do go through it. Okay, then this particular article is on the recent protests that a lot of workers have been undertaking, and they have been, you know, they're walking out of factories, etc., in a lot of places in the country, and basically they're saying that their entire labor laws, codes, etc., not being implemented effectively. They are not being given their rights effectively. All right. So the government passed the new labor codes in 2020. They were to be enforced from the 1st of April, and in spite of their enforcement, no basic social security, no basic economic security, no basic piece of work, no basic right to work with dignity, etc., has been bestowed upon the workers in the country. All right, they're facing undue hours of work. There are unhygienic conditions of work, no regular payments, etc., etc. So all of that has actually happened in spite of the labor codes being implemented. So that is what the article talks about. Okay, then again, a good detail you all can go through on the US-Iran talks. And the basic point of contention in the US-Iran as of now is this only, that US is asking for curtailment of Iran's nuclear ambitions, and Iran is not willing to curtail them. So that is what the basic article talks about. Then this article I've just included in it, you all can go through. It's a very wonderful take on that how this recent winning of elections in Hungary, where Viktor Orban was defeated by the new elected leader of Hungary, and his name I'm forgetting, Peter Magyar. Okay, Peter Magyar has won the elections in Hungary against Orban. Orban was a person who was in power for the last 16 years, and he's been defeated by this pretty new leader. Okay, so this entire article basically shows us that how in a democracy you're never sure of anything. Even if a person is in power for the last 15 years, the moment you start behaving like a dictator, etc., be it the largest democracies of the world, the government will be overturned. And this is what his entire case actually shows us. This entire election process actually shows us. Then news in brief and terminology for today. Former Union Minister Dinesh Trivedi, he is to be India's new envoy to Bangladesh. All right. So since the Bangladesh elections and since the reinstatement of the new Bangladeshi leader, of new Bangladeshi Prime Minister Tariq Rahman, who belongs to the party Bangladesh Nationalist Party, is undertaken concerted steps to better relations between India and Bangladesh. And now India is going to appoint our envoy in Bangladesh. So it is likely to be Dinesh Trivedi. Then South Korean president has reached India and needs to meet with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister and South Korean president will be undertaking discussions on shipbuilding, trade, investments, AI, semiconductors, critical and emerging technologies. All right. South Korean officials have called this a full-fledged Global South meeting. All right. So Global South are countries which are developing and least developed countries. All right. And South Korea is one of those countries which is a leading manufacturer of semiconductors, etc. Then Odisha has now become India's first state to lay the foundation of advanced 3D chip packaging plant. All right, this is going to give a major boost to India's semiconductor ambitions. So do remember that Odisha has become India's first 3D chip packaging plant. All right, then Aranyak becomes the 95th Grand Master from India. So Aranyak Ghosh is from West Bengal, and he's become the 95th Grand Master of India. All right, then Mumbai is now set to launch Mumbai's first non-AC closed door train. So as of now, they are going to undertake its trial for the next 3 months, and then they are going to effectively let it run. Now, the reason behind this is that recently, specifically in the last 1 year, Mumbai locals have seen a large number of deaths. All right, a large number of people who they just basically hang onto the entrance of the Mumbai locals. They fall off and they die. So I think last week, 9th of June 2025, last year, 5 commuters lost their life this way. An entire year last year, around 6,000 people lost their lives this way only in Bombay. So now they've decided that they're going to have closed door non-AC trains. All right, the windows and all would be open, but the doors would be closing just to prevent fatalities this way. Okay. All right, then this particular article, because nuclear energy is so much in news, I've just picked it up. So I can go through this, get a basic idea on how fast breeder reactors are going to play a major role in India's entire vision to generate 100 gigawatts of nuclear energy by 2047. Fast breeder reactors are those nuclear reactors which can generate larger quantities of fissile fuels with only very little raw materials, and this larger quantities of fissile fuels is generation capacity has been achieved by one nuclear power plant in India, which is Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu. And with that achievement, India has become the second country to do so. The first one was Russia. All right. Okay, then nothing important in this article. I just wanted to flag off Raniganj for you all. So Raniganj is India's oldest coal mine. It is in West Bengal. Okay. So that is all for today. I hope it's all clear. Do mark the articles, do go through them in the newspapers, and I'll see you all tomorrow with the next. Thank you.